Vincent, you decided to write this book. What made you decide to write a book on World War II?
Pressure from hundreds of friends and family who were after me for years, and I continued to tell them what made them think I had the talent to write a book. A writer has to be a creative person who does all kinds of things, but their response was that, but when you tell a story, people really seem interested and they listen, so just tell a story.
You're just sharing it.
Exactly, and that's what I did.
Did you ever write a book before?
No. I wrote a book at 89 years of age. Nothing before that.
Wow. How old are you now?
90.
And proud of it.
And proud of it.
Very good.
I still have most of my marbles and have had no catastrophic illnesses so far. And my doctors say you're going to live to be 100.
They called the World War II veterans the greatest generation. Do you believe they were the greatest generation?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We did not think it was such a big deal. The people later when we came home did. We just thought there was a job to do. We did it, and that was the end of it. It was automatic. The country was being threatened. We needed to go fight for the country and protect it and protect our families. And so, again, we did not think it was a big deal. We did it and we came home. Of course, a lot of them didn't. That was the sad part of it. But, and I, as an individual, when I came home, I said, there was a job to do, we did it, it's over. I want nothing to do with military things anymore. I did enough damage when I was a kid. And I said, I'm going to find a nice woman, get married, have kids, raise a family, get a good job as a school teacher, and that's exactly what I did for 65 years after the war. Completely different life. I took all the war memories, I put them back here and locked them up. And then the event that changed everything is when I was 85, my wife had just been taken away from me, put permanently in a nursing home. I was an old man sitting around waiting to die. But a coincidental meeting with a woman who came from Bastogne itself, Belgium. And when she spoke and I asked her about her accent, and she said it was Belgian. And she asked me if I knew anything about Belgium. And I said, well, yeah, but all I remember was bombs, bullets, and snow. And she said, you have not been back. I said, no. She said, monsieur, you must go back. The people of Bastogne have never forgotten the 101st Airborne Division. There are monuments to you all over the town. Every year we have celebrations. We all dress up in American uniforms. We reconstitute the battle. And I was kind of surprised. She said, in fact, if you go to Bastogne and you wear a little pin that says 101st Airborne Division, you don't buy a drink or a meal the whole time you're there.
And you did?
I said, that sounds pretty good. And I just as a lark, it was really not an imperative. My family started hollering, you shouldn't be traveling alone at age 85. So I said, well, then one of you come with me. And my daughter did. And when we got to Bastogne, again, by chance, we are walking to the bank. My daughter sees a mannequin in a window with an American uniform on, American paratrooper's uniform with the Screaming Eagle patch. And she said, let's go in and see. And I said, no, let's go. But she persuaded me, and my whole life changed. Because there I met a Dutch paratroop officer, Marco Killian, who, when he saw me, can I help you, sir? I said, no, I'm just looking. I was here during the war. He came around the counter. I thought he was going to attack me. I went into a defense mode. And he picked me up off the ground. Sir, we're so pleased to see you, meet you. We want to honor you. There are so few of you left. And he said, who are you with? I said, H Company, 501, Parachute Infantry Regiment. He said, sir, he said, we've studied the war. We know everything about it. He said, I will take you to where your company was dug in on both sides of the road. And I said, really? He said, yes, I will show you. And he takes my daughter and I out to the little town called Mont, M-O-N-T, which is where we were dug in during the war. And he shows me a fence, and on both sides of the road there are the outlines of foxholes.
Of the foxholes?
Yeah, they're filled in, but you can see the outline. And he said, Vincent, he said, that was your foxhole. I said, Marco, how can you know that that's my foxhole? And he said, because your company commander, not like a lot of others, when he turned in his after-action reports, he made a diagram of where the men were playing.
Wow.
He said, you were the only machine gunner in the 3rd Platoon? He said, in the 3rd Platoon, MG,
Machine gunner.
it's got to be. Well, I'm starting to shake a little bit now. I had not thought about or imagined any of these things for 65 years. And suddenly somebody's telling me that's where I was when I was a 19-year-old kid. I'm now 85 years old at that time. And then I said, no, wait a minute, Marco. If that was my foxhole, there has to be one here and one back here, because they always put 2 riflemen to protect the machine gun nest. And he said, yeah, go look. We walked over here. There was the outline, you know, of another foxhole, and one here. And now I'm starting to get a little emotional. And then one more thing, Marco. If that was my foxhole, there has to be a stream here, because I remember that morning I burnt the ice, filled up my canteen. Later on, I found out that stream went through a hog pen. He said, yeah, he said, you can't see it because of the grass. Look, we went down there. There was the stream. Now there's no doubt.
Wow.
No doubt. And I broke down. My daughter pulled me aside and said, Marco, look, my father's seen enough for today. Let's go back to town and come back another time. And whatever, you want me to continue with this?
Oh yeah, keep going. I'm interested.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the way back to town, there was Marco Killian and Johnny Bona, a Belgian tank commander, and myself and my daughter. I said, boys, can I take you to lunch? And they said yes. We went back to my hotel there at the dining room at the hotel, and I ordered 3 bottles of wine. I was going to change the mood here. I wanted to feel differently. And we did. We started drinking the wine and started 3 soldiers, you know, at a table drinking and eating. And we started getting a little loud, and we started embarrassing my daughter. And Johnny Bona told us about the stories about the Belgian tank corps there. Marco told us about his action in Kosovo and in Afghanistan. He had 3 Purple Hearts, hand-to-hand combat. What a guy. And so when it was my turn, I told them this story. I said, about the 2nd day of the battle for Bastogne, the Germans slipped around and surrounded us. And they captured the field hospital, which is always in the rear, but they had come around, and so all the blankets, all the beds, all the medications, most of the medical personnel were all captured. We had 1 doctor and 1 medical officer in Bastogne. Right? You know about the siege of Bastogne, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
25 German divisions hit. The first day, they did not know they were up against the 101st Airborne. They expected to go right through the way they did the other 3 infantry divisions that they hit previously. And but we stopped them. And so they left 8 German divisions to take Bastogne, and the rest of them went north and south to see if they could find another way. You know, the goal was Antwerp. Had they gotten to Antwerp, that was our port of entry. All the gasoline, food, supplies, and so on that they needed.
I talked to a member of the Merchant Marines the other day who was talking about supplying Antwerp.
Yeah. I don't think they'd have won the war, but it would have prolonged it another 2 or 3 years, because they had split the American armies from the south, from the British armies and the Canadian armies in the north. And so for them, taking Antwerp was vital. The problem was, on the way to Antwerp, there's this little town called Bastogne. It had 5 roads leading out of it, 2 railroads going through it, and we denied them the privilege. The second day, when they did surround us, my buddy had gotten hit in both legs. His name was Joe Willis. And since we had no place to put the wounded, we laid them all on the floor of the church, the cement floor. The church and the seminary across the street were the only 2 buildings that still had decent walls and so on. And so we just laid them on the floor, went through all the houses, pulling blankets, curtains and drapes, and whatever we could find to wrap guys in. And those of us who had 2 blankets donated one, to the wounded. We did our best to get these guys covered. The weather went from 0 and below all the time we were there. And we had no winter clothes, and the poor wounded guys had no blankets and stuff, and we felt real bad about that. But my sergeant sent me back from to the town there to look for batteries. He told me, see, you got to get some batteries for the radio. The radios are shot. Mm-hmm. And when I went back, the lieutenant said, we'll scrounge around. You wait out here. And I went to look for my buddy.
Mm-hmm. Picture.
And I find him lying on the floor. He looked pitiful. He was wrapped in...
This is in the church?
In the church, on the floor, in the church. And he was wrapped in a curtain, and he had a stocking around it. Whatever the story is, he wasn't in bad spirits. I said, Joe, how you doing? He said, he said, nothing. He said, a couple of pieces in the leg. He said, I'll be out of here tomorrow. He said, I'll be back up there. I said, oh, geez, that's good, Joe. He was my assistant machine gunner. I need you, Joe.
Right.
And I get ready to leave. I said, Joe, is there anything I can do for you before I leave? And he said, go find me something to drink. I said, where the hell am I going to find you something to drink? We're surrounded and cut up. There's no supplies coming in. He said, go look in the taverns. I said, Joe, the taverns are all bums. Get in there. He said, go look anyway. You might get lucky. I went down from the church, down the street. First tavern I went into, all broken glass, everything all shattered. There was nothing there, so I walked out. The next tavern, we went down the street a little further, there was another tavern. And when I went into that one, and went over to the bar and pulled the beer handle there, and beer came out. Yeah, there was a barrel of beer still on tap in that tavern. So I looked around for some container of some kind. There was nothing. Took off my helmet. The same helmet you use in a foxhole, when you're... I swished a little snow in it, went and filled it up with beer. By the way, this story is all over the world.
That's all right. It's a great story.
Well, I went running back to the church, and I said, Joe, I got some beer. And he said, oh. So I'm pouring beer down to Joe, and hey, give me some of that. Hey, give me some of that. And I was like,
so you're pouring beer from your helmet?
Yeah. And they're like this.
Yeah.
And I ran out. He says, go get some more. I said, Jesus Christ, Joe, go get some more. I went down, filled up the helmet, came back. When I got to the church, standing in the door is the regimental surgeon, like this. He's a major. I'm a PFC. What the hell are you doing, soldier? I said, sir, bringing aid and comfort to the wounded.
Yeah.
He said, smart ass, don't you know I've got chest cases and stomach cases in here? You give them B, you'll kill them. Get out of here before I have you shot. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. And put that helmet on.
With the beer.
Now it was not only freezing, but wet and freezing.
Okay.
But I ran like hell back to the foxhole before he changed his mind. And so, end of the story. 45. As I'm telling this story to Marco and Johnny Bona, they're going like this. You were the GI who brought beer in the helmet to the... I said, yeah. You, the helmet you went in church and you gave the wounded guys a beer? I said, yeah. He said, man, don't you know you're famous in Europe? I said, what the hell are you talking about? He said, waiter, come here. Bring us 4 bottles of airborne beer. The waiter comes back with 4 bottles of beer and 4 little ceramic bowls in the shape of a GI helmet that they served it in. I got a picture in my wallet I'm going to show you.
Okay.
And on the label of the beer shows a paratrooper with a helmet full of beer going like this. He said nobody believed that story. Everybody thought that was just a rumor. They said about 25 years ago, a Belgian brewer just decided, hey, you know, for the hell of it, let's this mythical GI.
Right.
And he started making
Airborne beer.
They didn't know who it was. I didn't know it was going on. I'm in the States here. It had nothing to do with all that stuff. But that story, my daughter said she's looked it up on the computer. It has had 931,000 hits on the you know, if you
Internet.
Google airborne beer,
Yep.
you'll see the whole thing there. Here.
Look at that. And that's how they serve it in helmets?
Yeah.
Look at that.
And you see the
GI.
paratrooper with the beer with the helmet full of
Helmet
beer?
full of beer?
Yeah.
That's truly amazing. And you knew nothing about that until you got there.
Until you guys were
Yeah.
telling stories,
Right?
and they told me about it.
It's an amazing story.
They'd been selling that beer in Europe for 20 years.